All right, let's go for it. Let me know. All right, here we go. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I want to start off by actually saying Happy New Year to everybody, if that's okay with you, Guru.
Yes. Happy New Year to everybody, to Nepal, to the rest of the world. And thank you for having me here.
How was 2024 for you? Let me start off by that.
Oh, I think it was very good for me, actually. It started by visiting my guru, His Holiness Gyalwang Drukpa, who's always with me. He has a monastery here, Druk Amitabha Mountain. Nepalese know it popularly as Sheto Gompa. Seto Gompa, white Gompa. So I belong to the Drukpa lineage. And last year, on the first day, 1st of January, I came to Nepal and I had the good fortune of getting his blessings. So my year was fantastic.
So exactly a year ago,
Yes,
you were in Nepal.
yes, exactly.
And then now we're sitting, give or take, exactly a year later.
Yes.
Wow. Our lives is a combination of learning from our mistakes and learning from our past. Is that true? What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, there's slightly more to it, yeah, but I agree. Those two components, certainly I can agree with. It's very funny when you talk about the past. Someone asked me once, because in Buddhism we talk about karma, right? Karma basically means action in Sanskrit. And slightly more in an elaborate way, karma means cause and effect. So you do something and you get the result. So Buddha basically said the Buddhist path is to do good and you achieve happiness, you do bad and you get suffering, cause and effect. But then if everything was already put in place, put in motion, where is the role of free will? If everything is already determined, like if you have already commit all your causes in the past, if you've already sown your seeds in the past and you're just waiting for it to sprout, then there is no free will. You're just basically just riding the wave of karma. Then I told somebody that whatever has transpired until now is because of your past karma. Whatever will happen henceforth from today depends on your present actions. So you have to be responsible. That's where free will comes in. You have a choice. You have a choice to be a good person. You have a choice to be a ignorant person. You have a choice to not learn from your past and repeat your mistakes. Or as you put it, you have a choice to learn from your past and never repeat your mistakes. You have that free will, and I think that's very important. And it starts right now, here, in this very moment.
Yeah. A new beginning, because I always consider every day is a new beginning, no shadow of a doubt on that. A new year is when we start making resolutions.
Yes.
That in the coming year, these are the things that we're going to achieve. These are the goals that we're going to try to go ahead and get through. I think it's not just with me, but it's with you and all of us.
Yes, I've learned from my past mistakes not to make too many stupid resolutions that I will not be able to. I try to make reasonable resolutions. You know what I mean, Sanjay?
Yeah.
We make a list of like 10 resolutions and then we can hardly maintain like 2 or 3 of them. So this year I'm going to reduce it to like 2 or 3 and I'm going to try to achieve them.
Try to achieve them. Have you thought of a few? Could you share one if you have one?
Yeah, work harder, to be honest. Connect to more people. I've been traveling. This year I traveled to Hong Kong to teach and recently to Vietnam just to visit and to meet people. Next year I would like to travel more to more countries. I would definitely love to explore Nepal more. My friend Nirav told me that in Nepal you have these 3 beautiful regions. In the upper layers you have the snowy mountains, the big mountains. In the middle you have the hills. Lower you have the plains. I want to explore them all. And I've seen some pictures. Nepal it's a beautiful place. It's very underrated, very underappreciated. I think Nepal, people should appreciate Nepal more. And there's so much more to explore. And I think one of the resolutions, honestly, I would like to explore Nepal more and the world more. That's one of the resolutions.
Yeah, that's it's all going to come true. And it's all going to come true if you go ahead and say it out loud.
Yes.
I believe in that.
Yeah, I agree. They say that, the power of visualization, if you verbalize it and if you work on it, if you visualize it, verbalize it, work on it, it happens. I'm a big advocate of the Buddhist teaching of doing things with the 3 doors. We call them the 3 doors: body, speech, and mind. Tan, Vakya, Man. body, speech, and mind. So if you wish it from your heart and you verbalize it, then it's easier to put it in action. If you only think about it and if you don't verbalize it, it's quite difficult to make things materialize. So I agree with you.
There's a quote by Buddha. If I don't want to get it wrong, it's somewhere or the other. If you have thoughts in your mind, and then if you have words to go ahead and connect those thoughts with, and then you share it with the world, somewhere or the other, your thoughts and your words can go ahead and practically change and transform the world towards getting it better or to make it worse. You have the choice of both. You can either make your surroundings worse or you can make it better with your thoughts and your words.
Yes, that is true. When you think about something, when you wish for something, it is immaterial. Nobody can see your wishes. Nobody can hear your wishes. The one way to make it visible, make it audible, make it, so that people know about it, is to verbalize it, obviously. So I think that's what the Buddha meant. And words are very powerful, like your podcast. You reach millions of people. You have more than 500,000 subscribers, and God knows how many more unofficial followers, people who just watch your clips, and they should subscribe and like. I should remind them. Yeah, very important. So that's what you do also. You conceive of doing a podcast with somebody that comes from your mind, and you verbalize it. And then because of this thought process that comes from your heart, from your mind, and then you verbalize it during your podcast, many people benefited physically. They put into action. You yourself must have received a lot of good advices. Your guests must have also received lots of wisdom from you, and everybody benefits in a physical way.
The catch here that I wanted to touch base today, and I'm really excited that you're here because this is something that it had crossed my mind, and then I'm glad that Nirav connected us. I was recently in Sri Lanka.
Okay.
And when we were visiting, me and brother were visiting a few museums, and the thought that came to my mind was, imagine Buddha was born in Nepal, in Lumbini.
Yes.
I don't know if you've ever been to Mayadevi temple yet.
No, I didn't at the time.
Please be my guest. We'd love to take you. We'd love to take you. His teachings have crossed oceans, all across the world. And when I was in Sri Lanka, and we're at the tip of Sri Lanka, which is like right at the bottom of where we're at. We're in the Himalayas.
Okay.
And then we're at this place called Gaul, which is like right at the tip, the end of the south of where we stand today. Complete end of the south.
Okay.
And we're right there, and we're at this museum, and we're just looking at few old statues from 1,000 years ago of Buddha. We're looking at the mudras. And there was at the museum, at the National Museum of Sri Lanka, there were a few, if you can find that picture, there was a picture that I posted as well. This is one of the places that we were at. And we saw a few mudras as well. There's a picture, I'm going to share it with you, and if you can share it so that, go for it, go back at this. This is a picture of, this is something different, but this is where imagination of a dream.
Okay.
That's what it was written right there. If you can zoom into that, Babu. I don't think, zoom into that. Interpretation of Queen Maya's dream. That's what it says, So anyways, long story short, we're looking at so many such amazing artifacts, and these are thousands of years old.
Yeah.
And the teachings have traveled all across the world, right? How do you think that became possible? The teachings that traveled across oceans.
Very simple. Because it's universal. Universal. Buddha's teachings are universal. And if you pay attention to the Buddha's choice of how you even term them, how do you even call them? We don't call them commandments. We don't call them statements. We call them the truth. Because they are the truth. Buddhism, very interestingly, it's not exactly a religion. It is a philosophical way of living and achieving perfection, getting to know yourself truly, getting to know who you truly are, Sanjay. I mean, Sanjay is a name, a lovely name, given by your parents or a guru. In some cultures, a guru gives it. Some cultures, parents give it. But before that, who were you? And the Sanjay who was young and naughty, running around, and the Sanjay who was expressive and energetic during his teenage years, and the Sanjay who is right now sitting next to me, who's the most famous podcaster and one of the biggest influences in Nepal. I mean, which one is it? And in the future, you might morph, evolve into somebody else. That is not our true nature. Buddhism is a journey within. Buddhism is to get to know your true identity. When I ask for your identity, tomorrow, let's say we are going to Sri Lanka, okay? We get our tickets done. I'm going to say, Sanjay, be my guest. Please send me a passport screenshot. And it's going to be written, Sanjay, your date of birth. But those are not your true identity. So what I ask my followers sometimes, get up in the morning, instead of rushing to check your messages and, replying to never-ending messages and all these things, go to the mirror, to the bathroom, and look into the mirror. Yeah, go to the bathroom, look into the mirror, and ask yourself, like truly look deep into your eyes and ask yourself, who am I? And don't ask only verbally, ask mentally.
Yeah.
Like, मैं कौन हूँ? Like who am I? What am I? And just spend maybe like 1 minute, 2 minutes there. Don't just leave. Yeah, just spend a few minutes. And the Buddhism is, I think, it's a journey to understand who you really are. We struggle with ourselves. Buddhism is universal. It has traveled across seas and mountains because it touches with people. Because it speaks about the universal truth that we are confused. We don't know who we really are. We are all suffering. We are all together in samsara. And Buddhism provides a way out of samsara. That's why it has been able to travel to Sri Lanka, to so many different parts of the world.
Yeah. This is so beautifully put. So beautifully put, Rinpoche. Thank you so much for that, Yaminat. Could you explain to me, you used a word which I barely have any understanding of.
Ji.
Samsara.
Samsara, wow, Sanjay, you're asking me to define something very confusing. Samsara itself is the definition of confusion. That's it. I mean, there are different ways to explain it. Like Buddha, when he taught, that's the tricky part. When Buddha taught, he taught in one language. That's what they say. There are debates about which language he taught in. Obviously, the Pali people say he taught in Pali. The Sanskrit people say he taught in Sanskrit. We call it the language of the gods. Yeah, like the language of the gods. But then Buddha, they say that he taught universally in one language, and people understood him differently according to their own capacities. That's the power he had. He didn't have to choose languages. He didn't have to debate between like, hey, should I speak in Nepali today? Should I speak in Hindi? Will they understand English? Should I speak Tibetan? He didn't have that problem because he was so universal. Buddha is, again, a definition of universality. I don't know if it's the right term or not. That's Buddha. He was so universal that even his language was universal. He spoke in one word, and everybody understood it differently in their own, by their own capacity, by their own culture. So, because people understood according to their own capacities, everybody had different karmas, different knowledge, and So, the definition of samsara is also a little bit different. But in the higher teachings of the Buddha, samsara is defined as confusion itself. Confusion, that's samsara. When your mind is confused, that's samsara. When your mind is free from confusion, that's nirvana. And when your mind is completely, forever free from confusion, that's what we call Mahamudra state, non-abiding enlightenment.
Mahamudra state.
Mahamudra. That's what my lineage, Drukpa lineage, and Gyalwang Drukpa, he teaches.
This is something that I saw and I took a picture of it. Okay. Zoom in. These were specific mudras that you could do with your hands,
yes,
probably with your feet, to relax yourself?
No, these, for example, let's go with the mudra of equanimity, the one in the folding hands together. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
The one in the middle,
Yeah,
where the hands are together. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the one in the middle is very simple. That's when you meditate in a very traditional way. Yeah, you put it in your lap, right on top of the left. The Buddhists put it right on top of the left. The Hindus put it left on top of the right.
Top of the right.
And when you scroll down, the legs, you can see that's the Padmasana. Some call it Vajrasana, the one on the left, yeah. That one, the Buddhists put it right on top of the left, and the Hindus put it left on top of the right.
On top of the right.
Yes. It's a very small detail. That's traditional. And obviously, you have so many other mudras, like teaching mudra, refuge-giving mudra. You have pranam mudra, to give respect. That bottom left, honestly, well, obviously I cannot lie, so I have to tell you, I don't know what that mudra is. And because I have weak eyes, I cannot read. The right one, I think, is the mudra very similar to how Tara sits. She sits in a very relaxed way. Yes, Mataram. She's actually my personal Isht Devi. That's why I wear green on my body, always. Maybe a green vest, maybe a green watch strap, maybe a green thread. So Tara is personally my Isht Devi, my deity. So she sits very interestingly with the right leg slightly extended, which shows her eagerness to jump out of her lotus throne and to help her children, all the people suffering in samsara. We are all her children. And like a very anxious mother, she's never, a mother in a restaurant, she never eats properly. You know that, right?
She's worried.
She's always worried.
She's worried about the kids.
One eye on the husband, obviously. Lest he looks here and there. Yeah, always on the husband. One eye on the child. She doesn't even look at her plate. That's why sometimes she misses, she spills. She's always on the lookout. If the husband is doing something naughty or if the child is also doing something naughty. So Tara has that essence. She's always ready to jump out of her seat. That's why Tara's, even her sitting posture is very interesting. Yeah.
I had a gist of it, but very well put. And the mudra that my Green Tara is doing?
Yeah. That's the universal Green Tara mudra.
Mudra, right?
Yes. That's how our feet is. The right hand denotes giving, dhan mudra, giving, whatever we ask. The left hand is protection mudra. She protects. So like a mother, with the left hand denotes protection. She's always protecting her children. Right hand, she always gives what the children asks. And the right leg extended, she gives it fast without hesitation. It's not like, a government office where you go sign a paper and come after 1 month. Tara gives it immediately.
Instantly. I saw the sculpture, and then instantly I was like, okay, I want to make sure that I have her.
That's a beautiful statue.
In my studio. It just comes from within. You can't be like, okay, this looks great, and then we're gonna be. No, it doesn't work. It doesn't work with me like that.
And have you ever thought why the green color?
No, please.
Yeah, green in Buddhism denotes means activity. Yeah, activity. So people who practice Tara, they achieve a lot. They are achievers. They achieve a lot, and they're very active people. I'm a very, very active Rinpoche. I'm a very active person. So are you? So maybe you don't know it, but you are also connected to Tara.
Attracted, and then somewhere the connection was there.
Yes, you have the blessings of Tara.
You didn't know that we had her here,
I had no
right?
idea.
Yeah. We have it, yeah. How about red? The color red in Buddhism?
Red denotes a few different things. It depends on which Buddha you're talking about. But for example, red is a very famous of a very famous Buddha, Amitabha. Yeah, Amitabha Buddha of the Western direction. He's, in his case, red denotes the setting sun. But then when you go look at Buddha, long life Buddha, Amitayus, long life Buddha, it's a completely different meaning. So red denotes long life. Yeah. So it depends on which Buddha you're talking about. And it's not a universal meaning. They don't have universal meaning. But in Tara's case, the green represents activity.
Okay, no, that's something new that all of us learned, and everybody who is listening learned. I wanted to touch base on your birthplace, which is very close to me. All right, I'll be very honest with you. In 2019, we did a television show, and I'm very lucky to be a part of this television show. We traveled from Kathmandu all the way to Pangong.
Wow, that's a long journey.
It is, and we're so glad that we got all the way to Pangong, and then we were able to go ahead and capture this, and we were able to go ahead and film the whole journey. Obviously, it's a motorcycle road show, so we had a lot of ups and downs throughout the journey.
You travel on motorbikes?
We travel on motorbike. Oh, there you go. Well,
Oh.
I had to do what I had to
Was
do.
that
but-
handsome guy?
Go back, and show us everything. This is such a magical, mystical place.
It is. Pangong.
Ladakh in general, Leh in general, and overall the essence of Ladakh, it's so mystical.
How did Ladakh
So-
treat you?
Very well,
Yeah?
to tell you the truth. Very, very well. We loved the whole energy of the place, loved the culture, loved the ambience, the whole magical environment. My favorite part was the people.
Thank you. On behalf of all Ladakhis, dhanyabad.
Thank you, thank you so much for having me and hosting me. And I'm genuinely saying this, not just because you are here with
Yes.
me, but we loved the hospitality, the Ladakhi hospitality, everywhere we went. It was we were in Himachal in the beginning.
Yes.
I believe we did Chandigarh, we did Manali,
Yes.
and then we crossed
That's
through.
a
And
beautiful route through Lahore. That's a beautiful place. Then you go to the higher plateaus. Yeah. And you must visit next time when I'm there.
Done.
Yeah.
Done. We will. We crossed over. I wanted to share a few pictures, Shota Babu. I believe this is the Khardungla
Kardla, one of the highest motorable passes
in the entire world.
In the entire world.
Right?
They say it is the highest. I'm not really sure about that because even within Ladakh, we have few others like Changla. Changla is very high.
I wanted to introduce you to. So that's my brother. His name is Robin Tamang, late Robin Tamang. And then I was very glad and lucky to be able to work with the gentleman that you see in this picture. And he's loved by the whole country. He passed away a year ago, and I believe we're somewhere in on the way to Ladakh, and then we're looking at a few friends doing a few high rope climbing, I believe, and I just wanted to share.
Staglangla. Yeah.
This is one of the
also very high.
highest pass in Ladakh, right?
In Ladakh, not the highest.
Okay.
Changla is high. Umlingla is very high. Umlingla. But because it's very close to the Tibetan border, it's not many people know about. Yeah, Umlingla.
Umlingla.
Umlingla. Umlingla. That's very high. I think you can check online technically which is the highest. Umlingla is very high. And now many people are making journeys to Umlingla and doing motorbikes. So I think you have to come back to.
We will come back. How was it growing up for you in Ladakh?
So I was born in Ladakh to a Tibetan father, Ladakhi mother. My father was a Tibetan refugee. He was born in eastern Ladakh. At the age of one and a half, I was recognized by my guru, His Holiness Gyalwang Drukpa, as a reincarnation of Palga Rinpoche. But I was too young, 1.5 years old. So he allowed me to be, kept with my mother until I was 8. So in 1992, I'm 40 by the way, getting old. How old are you?
I'm 37. I'm getting
You're
there. I'm
getting
getting
there.
there.
You're reaching my Umlingla. Right now you're in Staglangla, which is not very high. I have already crossed Umlingla. I'll wait for you.
Thank you so much. I'll meet you there.
Okay. So when I was 8, 1992, Holiness formally enthroned me at Hemis Monastery, one of the most auspicious and famous monasteries of Ladakh, a UNESCO World Heritage, very famous monastery of our Drukpa lineage, a dragon lineage. Then I went to Himachal for my study, Tsopema, Guru Rinpoche's pilgrimage place. There's a beautiful lake. Our monastery, Dzigar Gompa, has built a big statue of Guru Rinpoche, 110 something feet, very big. Tsopema, Rivalsar, the local name is Rivalsar. Rivalsar, yeah. So my basic education was done in Tsopema. Yeah. Then afterwards, it started to get a bit crazy.
Yeah, things got a little bit crazy
Little
where
bit
you
crazy.
traveled to Europe and where you saw. How does it feel to go out and see the Western world for the first time when you're in your teenage years?
Culture shock.
Right.
A complete culture shock. I mean, you're talking about a very simple boy from the upper Himalayas. Ladakh is very high, who has basically been, circled by the beautiful Himalayan mountains. Whenever I used to look at the mountains, the Himalayan mountains, I saw them as beautiful and very protective, but at the same time, a little bit restrictive, almost like a cage, like a golden cage. So I always wondered how the world lies beyond the mountains. The first English book that I read, because I basically self-taught myself English when I was growing up. I never went to proper schools. The first book I read was Tintin in Tibet.
Oh,
And the
snowy.
first pictures I saw was of Nepal, Kathmandu, Tintin going to look for his friend Chang with Captain Haddock.
Yeah.
And seeing the the illustrations of Hergé of Nepal and then Tibet, it was so beautiful. So growing up in Ladakh until the age of 8, then Himachal, Tsopema, I always wondered what lies beyond the mountains. When I was 19, I had still my friend, English person, computer programmer, because I had this habit of reading books. So I basically used to read books until I literally memorized them. So I used to be very interested in computers. In 1998, my father's best friend, who taught me driving, he told me, you know what, Rinpoche, in America, there's something called internet. I was like, what is that? I was 14 that time. You can send a letter and it reaches immediately. And then there's something called floppy disk. You can save things onto it and you can transfer to somebody else. I had no idea what he was talking about, but I was so interested. So I picked up a few computer magazines, and I read the Dummies series books. I literally memorized them.
You memorized the whole thing?
Yeah. I knew all the commands. I knew where to click. I used to visualize. Because of my Buddhist practices, we're very good at visualizing. So I could visualize everything, and obviously in the books, there are illustrations, pictures. So I could visualize, okay, this is a start button, this is a mouse, right click, left click, and you click here, you go up, you go to programs, you go to paint, and you paint like this. You go to open command, MS-DOS, okay, you command dir, yeah? You know what, remember?
Yeah, of course, I remember the whole thing, yeah.
I started with Windows 95, 98, and XP,
Playing the game called Prince, and then
Yeah.
all the small games.
Yeah, that came free with Windows.
Yeah.
So that I memorized a lot of things by reading. I had this habit of reading. So I knew a lot about computers. So the story is that Gary, when he visited Tsopema in around year 2000, he heard of this young tulku locked up in a small room, reading like books to death, very curious about the Western world. So he came to meet me, and he showed me his laptop, and I could operate his laptop very well. And he was so amazed. I'd seen a laptop for the first time, and I could operate. He was shocked. So he said that he was very intrigued, and he thought, what would happen if I brought this young Rinpoche, introduce him to the Western world? So it was an experiment, And after 21 years, you have your Frankenstein in red robes. And it was because of him. That was a pivotal moment in my life.
And which country did you see first?
England.
Straight
To England, straight to London. And when I reached Sanjay, it was November. And
cold as hell.
Cold. I got out of the house. I was walking around with him. I was like, where's the sun? It was 3 o'clock. It's already set because in the upper hemisphere. I was like, this is very depressing. We're not used to that. Right? Even Nepal, India, we're used to like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. No, we're used to like a decent, reasonable time. It wasn't very reasonable. So it was a bit shocking. I had a bit of a depression because of lack of sun.
Vitamin D.
Yeah, there were so many channels. When I switched on the TV, Sky TV, there were like more than 500 channels. I didn't know what to watch. That caused me depression. Too many choices, too many markets to go. The culture shock was immense, Sanjay. I mean, like the people, I spoke English by then, obviously. So the language wasn't a barrier. The food was also different. English food is nice, but different from us. So it was a culture shock for me. But honestly, after like 3 months, I loved England, and I still do. I have good memories, and I'm very grateful for my experience in England and to all those beautiful English people that I met. Very jovial people, good sense of humor, and they make the best out of everything. I have good memories, and I would love to go back someday.
Somebody, while you were saying this, I was just imagining that. Imagine if there's somebody who's just traveled out of his or her comfort zone, anywhere in the world. It could be from the west to the east, east to the west, wherever it is, to grasp the essence of that place. It takes a while. It doesn't happen overnight, right? Like you just said, in the beginning, you were not adaptive to it.
Yes.
But over time, you just adjusted, and then you fell in love with that place.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't want to take that risk.
I agree. Thanks for the coffee, by the way.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Black coffee. Smells really good.
I'm going to get you some hot wine too.
No, it's good. Thank you.
Slightly
Thank you.
more hot one.
Thank you.
There
Thank
you
you.
go.
Thank
To adapt to a new place.
you. Yeah. So the thing is, when I first went to England, I struggled for the initial 2-3 months, because I was very young. I'd never even been to the big cities properly. Like even when I used to travel to Delhi, I would stay with, because I didn't have any money, so I would stay with I was born very poor, and growing up, I didn't have any big sponsors or people think like Rinpoches are like extremely rich. They travel in SUVs, they travel all the time. Some do, but I didn't. I didn't have any past connections with my followers. They were not in India or I didn't have any big follower in America or Europe or Southeast Asia. So no money at all. I would collect my coins that people offered me. 5 rupees, 2 rupees. I would buy chips and Maggie and all that, Coke. So I hadn't seen the world properly even in India, and going back directly straight to England, it was a culture shock. But after the initial 2-3 months, I learned, I think, naturally that to be able to fully appreciate a region, you have to stop bringing your region with you. So I stopped being a Ladakhi. I stopped being an Easterner. I completely immersed myself, in terms of food, in terms of music, in terms of language, in terms of thinking, in the English way. So then I adapted their mentality. I fully enjoyed it. Afterwards, when I came back after 2 years, then I spent 3 years in retreat after I met my guru. Then I went back to Europe in 2011 end, I think. Then I went to mainland Europe. I went to Portugal, Spain, I lived in Germany, Denmark. I taught in many different places, lived there for like 3-4 years. Yeah. I could adapt to each region effortlessly because I learned this in 2004, November, when I first went to England, that you have to immerse yourself. Like when you go for a swim, if you keep dipping your toes, it's very cold. If you just plunge into it, just jump into it, it's very nice. And you also learn to swim a little bit. If you always keep dipping your toes, stand in the shallow water, you don't learn how to swim, Sanjay. Sometimes, to become a good swimmer, you just have to take the plunge. I mean, obviously, being careful. I don't advocate people jumping into pools, but that's what I did. I didn't have a good lifeguard to save me. I just, learned myself. So afterwards, I managed to pick up a few languages besides English. I speak Portuguese fluently. I teach in Portuguese sometimes whenever I meet Portuguese people. I understand Spanish. I used to speak German, but I forgot because it's a very difficult language. I speak a bit of Mandarin also, which I'm forgetting because no practice. Next language I want to learn is Nepalese, along with one other language. I want to learn Nepalese.
No, we will help you. And then as soon as you said Portuguese, there's only one person that comes to my mind. That person is like Cristiano Ronaldo. Do you play football by any chance?
I used to. I'm a big Manchester United fan.
Oh, Man U.
Yeah. You're also Man U.
Yeah, well, that's one of the best teams in the whole world.
Right now, let's not talk about them.
That's perfectly fine. The power of a human being, right? Like, let's say, for example, Cristiano Ronaldo. Cristiano Ronaldo has the power to go ahead and sway people to do better.
Yes.
I look up to Cristiano Ronaldo. I've never met him in my life. Most probably I never will. You never know, but most probably I will never meet him. But somewhere or the other, the amount of work that he's done to transform himself into being one of the best footballer in the world, coming from nothing, having nothing.
He came from Madeira, very remote island. He didn't even come from the mainland. He came from a very poor family. His father was an alcoholic. His mother, I forgot her name, Donna. She's very famous in Portugal also. And because he's 1 year, I think we're almost the same age. He's 39, I'm 40. So I grew up, watching him. When I first came to my club, Manchester United, from Sporting Lisbon for 18 million pounds, I remember when he had those noodle hair, and he mesmerized Old Trafford and football in general. Honestly speaking, he's the perfect example of working hard. He works so hard. His diet is impeccable. He doesn't have a single tattoo on his body. He doesn't drink. When I was in Portugal, I used to go to these good restaurants, and they used to tell me like, "Oh, Cristiano comes here sometimes, to eat whenever he's with his family." Because I used to go, I used to have a lot of money when I was in Europe, so they used to say like he used to come here, and I was like, "Yeah, so how's his diet? Does he drink? Does he eat? No, he doesn't touch alcohol at all. Yeah, so he's very hardworking. He doesn't party like other people. He's very focused on becoming the best footballer in the world. Obviously, there's debate between him and Messi, and I have my own opinions. But in terms of working hard, I really think nobody can beat him. He worked so hard, and I respect him for that, especially coming from humble beginnings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
That's his father.
That's his dad.
Yeah.
When you work hard, it crosses my mind right now that when the conversation that we were having earlier, I don't know if you know this about Nepal. There are a lot of young people leaving this country,
Okay.
trying to find better opportunities, better life outside this country. It can be towards the west, it can be within east. A lot of people also are leaving this country for work, for employment outside this country. A few things that you said that stayed with me, and there are a few things that I advocate as well, is when you go to a different country, you have to adapt to that country.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you should completely forget your country.
Yeah.
Don't forget. The way I see myself is that I have a Western brain, but an Eastern heart. You got it? So I can afford to adapt my brain to the Western way of thinking and to learn certain things. But I cannot afford to lose my culture.
Lose your roots.
Lose your roots. I am a big advocate of balance. So having been grown very poor and wishing to become a millionaire, to drive good cars, to wear Gucci Armani and all those things, you know what I mean? Like every boy's dream. And having achieved all that by the age of 28, I was already very well. Then afterwards, selling everything, coming back, and now living a balanced life. I don't advocate living like a beggar. That's not possible in today's world. Like maybe there are some saints who do that, but in the past it was different. Now the reality is different. So I think in order to thrive in life, whether in business, work, career, whatever it is, or even in spirituality, you have to be reasonable and you have to adapt to the changing times. You cannot bring Buddha's time into the present moment, because the Buddha's times were different, Sanjay. They had different values. They appreciated different things. Nowadays, if somebody comes to you with a begging bowl, you see him as a nuisance. You don't see it as an opportunity to accumulate good karma. It's like, jao, I don't have time. Some people do that now, obviously. So times have changed. And the conveniences of traveling in a car, of having a mobile phone so you can connect to your friends, to your colleagues, you can spread the Buddha's teachings. These are all means. And, the instruments have changed. The realities have changed. The values have changed. So I think when times change, or when we change places, you can afford to adopt certain things in your brain, but maybe your heart, I think, should be kept Eastern and pure, and not forget your roots. Otherwise, you completely lose yourself.
Yeah.
Then you stop being a Nepalese, you stop being a Ladakhi, then you completely become a foreigner. And then you start looking back and you're like, oh, Nepal is this and that, Ladakh is this and that. You start seeing faults. When I went to Europe and I looked back at Ladakh and looked back at our Himalayan culture, I saw so many qualities. I saw the beauty of it. All of a sudden, I realized that, all these dusty roads and the lack of infrastructure, these are not our faults. We don't prioritize these things. We prioritize things that are universal, things that matter, the things that really matter, like spirituality, for example. Like look at Nepal. As soon as you step out of your house, and Ladakh, the same thing. As soon as you step out of the house, you're not bombarded with advertisements, people trying to take your money. You're bombarded with stupas, with mandirs, with gompas, with statues. You cannot avoid these things. Whether you're a Buddhist, Muslim, Hindu, Christian, doesn't matter. You cannot avoid spiritualism, because the place itself is designed spiritually by our forefathers, by our predecessors. Ladakh is the same way. Right. So, then when you go outside, and you're so used to shopping malls and all these modern things. Then you look back and you see like, oh, Nepal, you don't have this. Ladakh, you don't have that. Then you only see falls. You don't see that you have the spiritual shopping malls of Swayambhu, of Maratika, of Pashupatinath, of Bauddha, of Bodh Gaya, of Ladakh Himis. You don't see them. So you see them as falls. That's...
How was Swayambhu for you?
Swayambhu was amazing. My Guruji always told me like, you must circumambulate Swayambhu. That's with my attendant, Jigmeet Sewang.
Yeah, it's his birthday that day?
That day, he told me while we were going around, he was like, hey, by the way, it's my birthday. Yeah, he's a lovely person. He's been helping me for many years. He belongs to Chemre Monastery in Ladakh, same lineage, slightly different monastery. So, Swayambhu is, wow, the energy, Sanjay. Our Guruji, Gyalwang Drukpa, says that if you go around Swayambhu 13 times, it is like doing one Ngondro. Ngondro is like the Buddhist practice of prostrating 100,000 times. Have you seen that?
Yeah,
Maybe
I have.
People prostrate repeatedly.
Yeah, throughout.
108,000 times. That's only prostrations. Then you have to chant Vajrasattva mantra 108,000 times. So you prostrate 108,000 times to take refuge. You accumulate Vajrasattva. This is our Drukpa lineage Mahamudra practice. You chant and accumulate Vajrasattva mantra 108,000 times to purify your bad karma. Then you do mandala practice. You've seen mandala, right? People do that with the big plate 108,000 times to accumulate merit. And then at the end, you culminate everything with Guru Yoga by supplicating to the Guru to get the Guru's blessings by practicing Guru Yoga 108,000 times. So that's one Ngondro.
Why the specific 108,000?
Auspicious. There's so many different reasons to give, but I think 108,000, for some reason, it's a very auspicious number. And it is across Buddhism, like beyond Buddhism, in Sanatan Dharam, Hinduism, Buddhism, I think, I'm not sure about Jain or Sikhism, but at least from the spiritualism, spiritualities, the religions that came from India or Nepal or from these regions, we consider 108 to be very auspicious.
8 being like infinite, maybe?
I guess so. It's my favorite number, by the way. I like the look of it, and it's an infinite.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When I think about it now, going back to our conversation about a lot of friends who are abroad, wherever they are, whatever roots they come from. I'm just not talking about friends from Nepal, friends from India, friends from Sri Lanka, friends from SAARC region or Southeast Asia or wherever, you should not forget your roots. Yeah. And you cannot look back at your country or your home and say that, just not look at negativity. That's what I took from you. Look at the positive side of what you have that other people don't have.
Yes, that other people, some places will never have. And even if they build, it'll take thousands of years to get the blessings. I mean, Bodha is so old. I don't know how, honestly, I'm not a historian. You might know better. Swayambhu, Guruji told us that it predates Buddha Shakyamuni himself. It is a self-arising stupa. I mean, how can you even define self-arising stupa? Apparently, the whole city was like a lake, and the stupa was underneath, and it was already there. And when the water subsided, blessed by Manjushri, the story is very elaborate. Yeah. Nepal is so blessed, man. Kathmandu is like, I think you're over-blessed. You're leaking blessings into the Himalayas. Maybe that's why Buddha was born in Lumbini.
Yeah,
really,
that's so true.
He lived almost all his life in India, and he traveled a lot in India. But I mean, come on. He was born right here in present-day Nepal, Lumbini.
Let me take you to Mayadevi next time. Next time you're here, next time when we'll plan it out, and I'd love to take you to Mayadevi temple. Okay. I'd love to. There's a specific tree right next to the temple. There's a small little lake, and then a pond, to be precise, and then there's a beautiful tree right next to the temple. That's one of my favorite places in the whole planet.
Wow.
You could take me to some of the most Western country and show me some of the best things in the planet, or take me to one of the best holiest places in the entire world, right? But that place, for me personally, that's the Mayadevi temple.
I've seen pictures of it, yes.
I was here, I think, last year. I try to go every year. And then right next to it is, right next to the temple, so that's, zoom in, Babu, aligadi. zoom in slightly into this picture. So that's the Mayadevi temple, and then if you see a pillar right there, that's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Ashoka pillar.
Ah, yeah.
That
I've
one's
heard
the
about it. Yes, yes.
Ashoka pillar,
Yes.
and then right next to it, that little bit of tree, if you see, that's the tree
Yes.
that I'm talking about.
Okay.
And I'd love to take you there.
Is it the tree where Maya Devi held her hand, rested her arm, and Buddha was born from her armpit?
That I'm not so
Maybe you
sure.
should confirm it next time.
We'll try to
Yeah.
confirm it. We'll go together and confirm it
Yeah,
next time.
because maybe that's why you feel so drawn towards a tree. You know what I mean? I mean, there's so many trees. There's the Bodhi tree in Bodh Gaya, which is extremely holy. Buddha got enlightened there. But maybe I think this is because Maya Devi, when the Buddha was about to be born, she had birth pains. But surprisingly, Buddha was born under from her armpits, not from the womb like we're usually born. So he was born in a very clean way. And after that, he walked 7 steps and he proclaimed to be the greatest on earth. He had this confidence even from birth. That shows his power.
Yeah. Branch of the tree
See?
in Lumini.
I'm pretty sure it's
Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it. And I never asked. So, you need to ask a question so that you get the answer, right? Some of us never ask that question sometimes,
Sometimes, but you don't even know what questions to ask. And you get answered anyway. So this tree, when you went there, you didn't know what question to ask. But the tree answered to you in such a way that for you, this tree, for out of the whole world, and I'm sure you have traveled a lot. You just came from Sri Lanka yesterday and you keep traveling. It's your favorite place, and you didn't pick any other tree. Yeah. Most Buddhist or spiritual person, they would pick the Bodhi tree or some other spiritual tree, but you picked this tree. And the first time I've heard somebody choose this tree as his favorite place in the whole world. I'm sure it's that tree.
It's a magical place. It's such a magical place. One thing I wanted to touch base on, and then I'll come to a little bit go behind in your life. Gautam Adani, I don't know if you know about Adani.
I've heard of him.
One of the richest person in the world.
Yes.
I remember him saying in a talk show that to get where you want to get, 3 words. I'll give everybody 3 words, and these are the 3 words that I want people to stick by. It's called mehnat, mehnat, mehnat. You work hard, things are going to work out for you. At one point of your life, I've read this, I want to understand that you had a lot of money.
Yes.
You acquired a lot of wealth.
Yes.
How did that happen, and then how does it feel to have a lot of wealth?
Okay. So this is a very broad subject. And by the way, I'm yours for the whole day. Okay, so we can stay until evening and you can ask. I've kept the whole day free for you.
Thank you so much.
So the way wealth and luxury or suffering works, is that it is, according to the Buddha, it all depends on your past karma. So it's like this. The actions that we do in this world right now, okay, since morning when you woke up, a good thought, a good action, a good word, those are good karma, okay? They're basically spiritual karmic seeds sown into the fabric of the universe here and there. You have no idea. You're scattering them. And if you continue to do good things, those will be given water. It's like you're putting water on them. You understand? Right now, we have no idea how many seeds we have already sown in the past. In which field, in which time, in which dimension, we have no idea. But we have certainly planted so many seeds, countless good seeds and also countless bad seeds. So the practice is that, the Buddhist path is that as you go along with your, daily life, and if you keep doing good things, it's like putting water on the good seeds and putting stones on the bad seeds so they don't sprout, like covering them, making them, dry or whatever. So, and if you obviously, if you have a good seed and if you put water, you're going to get beautiful flowers and good fruit. Karma works in that way. So when you talk about rich people, Adani, Ambani, Bill Gates or anyone, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, these are the richest people in the world. Some of the richest people, they have accumulated a lot of good karma in the past. So the mehnat that he's talking about, mehnat, it's not only from this life, it's also from past life. Yeah, he's already done a lot of preparation before. We're doing the podcast today. We didn't just bring our mics and cameras and lights and set it up, went to the market, bought everything, set everything up. You know what I mean? It was already prepared. And you just have to come here, simple. So many people don't see the work that went behind setting up the journey of Sanjay that you led until you have this lovely studio and this lovely platform, your talk show. So many people don't see that. That's the behind wala thing. People only see the wealth that Adani's or Ambani's are enjoying. People only see the fame that you're enjoying and the good things that you do. They don't see iske piche, like how much mehnat you did. So that's one part. Not everything can be, I think, acquired. Just, you need also some good karma from the past. But he is right. You can achieve a lot of things, and it depends on how you define success. Is it a lot of money? Some people, when they go to temples, I mean, in Nepal, in Kathmandu, that there's a very famous Mahakala temple. I visit there every time when I come here. I'm going to go before I leave. I'm going to make some offering. That's a very powerful place. When you go to Swambhu, Bauddha, Pashupatinath, Marathika, you go to these holy places. What do people usually ask? Money. Like, out of 100%, come on, be honest. They give money and they're like, please, I want to become richer. Like, almost like bribing God, bribing these deities to bless you with money. But they don't think, what kind of money? Good money, which will make you happy. A lot of money that brings happiness. A lot of money that creates enemies and you lose your existing relationships and happiness. Then your pockets are full, but your heart is empty. So what's the point? So I think even when we pray, we have to be careful. So we should not just pray for money, wealth. We should pray for good wealth. We need money, obviously. By praying, you can't build a monastery. By praying, I cannot visit Nepal. I need to buy a ticket, 5,000, 10,000 rupees. And I have to live here. I have to eat food. If I go to cafe, I can't just say like, Namo Buddhaya, please give me some food. They won't just feed me. No, I have to give money. That's how the world works. But what kind of money? And people don't usually talk about the quality of the money. They just think of the quantity of the money. I want money. I want to become rich. I want to become famous. But what kind of fame? Good fame or bad fame? The kind of fame that brings shame on you, the kind of fame that attracts negative energy, negative people getting jealous of you, people want to kill you at every moment, that you're afraid to even drink a cup of coffee because you don't know whether it's been poisoned or whether somebody's recording. You're paranoid always. So I don't know about Adani, Ambani, Jeff Bezos. I don't know how they live their lives. But I can't imagine it's a very relaxing life. I think they're very terrified. They're not as relaxed as we are. We have balance, Sanjay. Yeah, we're not so rich that we can travel to Mars or outer space. We don't need to. We have enough wealth that we can visit our neighboring countries and some Western countries wherever we want to go. We don't have to buy the Eiffel Tower. We just go there, see it, come back. So I think we have. Being rich doesn't mean you're wealthy. They're rich, but they don't have the real wealth. I think. I mean, they might. I think we are wealthier than them because we have balance. Your pockets are full, reasonably, and your heart is also full with happiness, with contentment, with purpose. And you're not afraid. Every time you step out of the office, you don't need like 50 people. You don't need to wait for the motorcade to get ready. You don't need for the police to empty the road so that you can go to the airport, so that you can go somewhere. You know what I mean? You can't enjoy a lunch, breakfast with a friend. You can't meet new people. You're so paranoid. You have to screen everybody. You don't know who's recording. You don't know who's going to shoot you, poison you. I mean, like, come on, man. I don't want that kind of wealth. So my mehnat is good, but I think you also have to be careful what you wish for. Yeah?
That's so true.
Yeah. Do you agree with that?
I know. I totally agree with that you have to be careful what you wish for because that wish might come true.
Yeah.
But you might not be ready for that.
You see, for example, now in a couple of months, Valentine's is coming.
Yeah.
Okay, 1 month and 14 days. People are ready to propose to certain people, and people usually just, they're not careful what you wish for. They only wish for a beautiful woman or a beautiful man. They don't wish for like a good personality, a good characteristics, educated or spiritual. They don't think about the whole thing. A human being is not, it's not a mobile phone. It's not a very it's not a simple thing. We are such complex creatures. We keep changing our minds. We evolve every year. We are different. Like I said, the Sanjay who was young, he used to play with his, action figures and play boom, boom, boom with his guns and with his friends. Is very different to the Sanjay right now. He enjoys different things. Our choices change. So we're not careful what you wish for. So people usually wish for a very beautiful woman or a very beautiful man. And sometimes they get them, but then afterwards, because they didn't wish properly, they become the source of their own suffering.
Yeah.
Initially, they go like, oh, I cannot wait to see you. You fill me with happiness. I was so depressed. The moment you called me, I was so happy, But after like 2-3 months, after the honeymoon period is over, after 1 year, if your love is not compatible, if your relationship is not, compatible, if you didn't pay attention to the details and the overall package, then you're like, the moment you see them, you get depressed.
That's gonna be very, very bad.
Because they know the buttons, which buttons to press. They know which buttons to push because you brought them so close to you. They know exactly. They would know exactly which buttons to push in Sanjay to make Sanjay explode. Even your enemies at the border want to know the buttons to push. Maybe they would know what buttons to push to create a war with a country, but they would not know the buttons to push to make you explode.
Internally.
Yeah, internally. And they can make you go crazy, man. It's a very powerful thing. Relationships, money, whatever that's what people wish for.
Did you wish for money? When
I
you
was
were in your
when
20s?
I was younger, yes, I did. I wished for money because I grew up really poor. And again, like I said, I was not careful with what I wished for. So I did get a lot of money. I worked hard in the sense that I connected to a lot of people. I was always I always try to be polite. I don't lie, and I, try to be generous with my time, and So I met some really good people, very kind, generous people, to whom I'll be forever grateful. And then they sponsored a lot of money. They gave a lot of money, and I didn't know what to do with the money. So what the sponsor told me to invest in stock market, and because of my computer background that I've learned when I was young.
You invested in Bitcoin to
No,
Apple shares to
not
everything?
Bitcoin.
Not Bitcoin. Okay.
That'll be a lie. I invested in Apple during the time of iPhone 4, and then they jumped to iPhone 5 when they changed the adapter from the big 16 pin to Lightning.
Yeah.
16 or 18 pin, I don't remember, from the big adapter
Big
to
adapter
Lightning.
to Lightning one,
And
the small one, yeah.
Yeah, and they revolutionized the design also. It became flatter and, aluminum and all that. Yeah. It was a big thing, and stocks really improved. Then iPad, and new products started to come, and my stocks were doing really good. And then they gave me additional money, which I poured into my stocks. So I had a lot of money, and I didn't know what to do. I was young. I was around 26 that time, around 26. So I didn't know what to do. So
You had immense amount of wealth.
Yeah. So I bought a few cars. I started with the Mini Cooper. Red one with the black stripes, classic, roof down.
Yeah, that's a really nice car.
211 horsepower, John Cooper works. I have photos. I'll share with you later, and maybe you can.
You liked materialistic things at the time.
I did back then. I enjoyed them. Then the Mini Cooper wasn't fast enough, so I bought a Maserati, 450 horsepower. Maserati could not go off-road, so I bought a Range Rover. The Range Rover wasn't big enough, so I bought a Hummer H3. It wasn't fast enough, so I bought a Porsche Cayenne. I mean, I did all kinds of crazy things.
Motorcycles, bodybuilding.
Yeah, bodybuilding came because we do this 3-month retreat in the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
I have a monastery in Darjeeling.
Oh.
It's above Chaurasta.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. I've been to Chaurasta.
Yeah, it's above Chaurasta.
Okay.
It's above Subhash Gising's house.
Yeah.
And this is in Sikkim.
Where is this? Is Sikkim?
Yeah,
I
it's in
love
Sikkim.
Sikkim, by the way. Just
Yeah,
wanted to let you know.
They have the best vegetarian momos. Iskuska momo, my favorite.
Iskus momo.
Iskus momo, so good. I've been trying to find it in Kathmandu, but
हाम्रोमा छ र इस्कुसको मोमो छैन होइन इस्कुसको मोमो चाहिँ I'm not so sure.
it's more particular to Darjeeling and Sikkim, I think.
Oh yeah, I need to go. No, this is such a funny thing. I was in Darjeeling, and then I don't know why I wanted to share this. I was right below Chaurasta, right next to Elgin, that very famous place, and then I ask somebody, "Can I get some Darjeeling Momo?" And then the lady looks at me and go like, "You just call them Momo. You don't call them Darjeeling Momo because you are in Darjeeling." But no, when did you start really taking care of yourself
So what happened?
physically?
Okay, so I have my main monastery, main monastery that I belong to is in Tibet. Outside Tibet, it's in Tsopema, Rivalsar, in Himachal, where I grew up. Then we have another monastery in Darjeeling, above Chaurasta, just below St. Paul's School, where I founded a Buddhist philosophy school. We call him Shedra, where you teach Buddhist philosophy in 2012.
Okay.
But before that, there's a small hermitage. So I spent 3 years and 3 months in retreat after I met my guru here. So I gained a lot of weight. You basically are sitting 24 hours, meditating, eating a lot of food, a lot of good food, and just no physical exercise. You're basically locked up in a room measuring 12 feet by 14 feet for 3 years and 3 months. For the first 1-2 months, Sanjay, you go crazy, you go nuts. You cannot focus on your meditation. You are missing pizza, you're missing cricket, you're missing your friends, you're missing football, you're missing movies, you're missing everything. You're missing things you never thought you would miss. It's so difficult. It's so tough to voluntarily imprison yourself, and you cannot get out because it's shameful. I mean, I chose. Nobody forced me to enter a retreat. So you went there by yourself.
3 years.
And 3 months.
12 feet by
14 feet.
That's it. It's like a small little jail cell.
Yeah.
Jail cell.
Yeah. And no contact with the outside world except for your attendant who leaves your food on the door, gives a knock in a hot case, and you eat your food, and afterwards he comes to pick it up. That's it. And I did have a meditation master living next door, and he taught me, obviously. He gave me the instructions. Kya karna hai.
Let me track back a little bit.
Okay.
You had a Maserati. Like you had
I
all
had it
the
after
wealth.
that.
You had
After
you had
that.
all of this after that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is
This is before.
This is right before.
Before my
right?
wealth, yes.
How old were you at this time?
This was in around 2008. So you have to,
Yeah, no, that's totally understandable. And then after that, you went to UK, and then after that, you did the whole thing. And then, you were in Europe, right?
Mainland Europe.
Mainland Europe, right?
UK, I went in 2004.
Right?
Yeah.
So you came back, and then you
Did
were
my retreats and
here
all.
for 3 years.
Yeah. 3 years and 3 months.
What went to your mind when you were like staying there for three years? Like, did you
Everything.
wanted to acquire materialistic thing? Like one day I'm
Yeah.
gonna go out and I'm gonna see the world and I'm gonna acquire things.
No, I think even if somebody gave me a bottle of Coca-Cola, I think I would have been happy. Even if I could have watched a meaningless movie, I would have been happy. Even if I could have listened to a stupid song, I would have been happy. You know, I mean, like you could have given me the most basic thing, maybe a packet of
A packet
a
of
packet of
chocolate
YY,
cake,
maybe, yeah, packet of YY Dale Khorsani, I would have been happy. You know, I didn't wish for like big cars and everything because you're basically locked up, and any kind of relief, respite, in terms of luxury was welcome. But you yearned for that. You know, it was incredibly tough. But after 1 or 2 months, your mind starts to adapt to the new reality. The mind is incredible. It starts to adapt, and then you go more within. And so basically, initially, what happens in the first few months, all this kachra, all this garbage comes out. All your insecurities, all your attachments, all your bad habits that you have, formed over the years, it comes out. And you see that very vividly. And afterwards, it starts to settle down. Then you start going deeper into your practice. Then it's beautiful. Then you start to get to know yourself more. You become so calm. And from my window, you could see Mount Kanchenjunga. Yeah, on a clear day. Darjeeling, you hardly get clear days, but sometimes you get a clear day. And you could see Mount Kanchenjunga right from where I was staying. So the rest of the 3 years was beautiful. And when I came out, I was very heavy, and my hair was long. You don't cut your hair in retreat. My mustache, my beard was a little bit like a Chinese, like a typical Shaolin monk. I came out, I could hardly walk because my legs, there were no muscles. I had to descend from the stairs. I nearly fell down. I had to take a long time to descend down and I couldn't speak properly. I struggled to form sentences. So I would say like, Sanjay, coffee, me,
Because you hadn't spoken.
Yeah, I couldn't form sentences properly. Sanjay, hungry, food, lunch now. You know, like you couldn't properly form sentences. It was very weird. But then you were so happy. You come out and everything is beautiful to you because you have been spending 3 years within yourself. We never spend time with ourselves, Sanjay. The moment we try to find a distraction. That's why we jump to our phones. You know, these days we have this curse of phones. We keep them there. As soon as it lights up, you're like, who messaged? Let me just check. You know, we love distractions. Back then, you didn't have the fancy phones. It's amazing what the mind, you know, we don't spend time with ourselves, but we spend time with everybody else. I tell people, we hug everybody else, but we never hug ourselves. We never embrace ourselves. That is one of the teachings I found in Buddha Vajradhara. Vajradhara, we call him Adi Buddha. Buddha Vajradhara is the source of all the Mahamudra teachings that the Drukpa lineage got from. So it came from Vajradhara to Tilopa. Tilopa to Naropa, very famous. Yeah. Naropa to Marpa, the great translator, to Milarepa. So we are the lineage of Milarepa in Naropa. That's why I wear this meditation belt. We practice the 6 yogas of Naropa in the Drukpa lineage. Then you have Gampopa. Then you have a few followers. From our lineage, you had Pakmu Drupa, Lingchen Repa, then the first Gyalwang Drukpa, Tsangpa Gyare. Right now, my Guruji is the 12th Gyalwang Drukpa in the lineage. So yeah, I was meditating for like 3 years and 3 months. Eating, not moving. You gain a lot of weight. Then I went to Europe. It was around 2011. I didn't write notes back then, so I don't remember exactly, but it was around 2011. Mm-hmm. I went to mainland Europe, and I wanted to go to the beach. Okay, I wanted to go to the beach. Yeah, I had some friends. Obviously, I cannot go in my robes. That look awkward. You know, there's a place for everything. I went to a shopping mall. I went to H&M to look for some clothes, and you know the changing rooms have glass all over, mirrors. So I was looking at myself. You know, I was so used to seeing myself. You know, I forgot how I looked before. Before I was very slim, and I was down in my shorts. I was trying a shirt. I dropped it. I bent down, and something literally came out. I was like, that was my belly. It was touching my knee. It was so big. And I looked at myself. I was like, who is this man? I was so big, you know, and I didn't feel comfortable. Mm-hmm. Then I thought, okay, this doesn't look healthy. I need to work out. That was the only reason. I knew that I could not abuse my body anymore. I could not just keep eating all these carbs and fatty food and sugar and all that. So I cut down. I learned about diets. I joined a proper gym. I had a very good trainer. And then I became a fitness freak.
How long did it take you to lose down a lot of weight?
Oh, it took me like 6-7 months at least to come back to what is a normal weight. But because I was also enjoying myself with my money and everything, you know, in between. So it wasn't plain sailing. There were a lot of distractions.
Ups and downs, yeah.
Yeah, but I would say like 6-7 months until I was comfortable with my weight. And then afterwards to get properly ripped, it took me like 1 year. But I'll share some photos later, maybe it's the right time.
No, done.
Yeah.
And then making all the money and then driving around fancy cars, living in Europe, traveling around, Monaco, this, that, blah, blah, blah. It's a good lifestyle. It's a great lifestyle, isn't it?
It's fun. Okay, I have to choose my words carefully. Yeah. It's fun, full of pleasure. Because with money, I believe you can buy pleasure, but you cannot buy happiness. You can buy sensual pleasure to the touch, warm clothes.
Materialistic things.
Yeah. Pleasure to the taste, good food. Pleasure to the eyes, you know, go to beautiful places, see beautiful things. Pleasure to the nose, perfume. Pleasure to the ear, good music, etc. So you can envelope yourself with luxury, with pleasure. With money, you can do that.
Yeah.
But you don't get what I believe to be true happiness, which comes from within. The one that I felt in Darjeeling during my 3 years and 3 months. It was different. So because I had spent that time in retreat, practicing, you know, on my Drukpa lineage path, I remember exactly how real happiness felt. And coming to Europe afterwards and getting distracted by all these pleasures, I could compare myself. If I hadn't done my retreat, I would not have known what is real happiness. And I think I would have been lost, and I think I would still be in Europe. Maybe not driving a Maserati, but I think maybe begging, because I would have blown all my money. I would have made some stupid decisions, and yeah, probably begging on the street somewhere in Paris or Berlin. Yeah.
You never know. You might not be doing that too.
Maybe I would be giving 3-worded advice.
Rags to riches, and then riches to back to
balance.
Back to balance. Back to your roots.
Yes.
What made you come back?
It was gradual. Yeah, it was a gradual realization. It was a gradual realization of waking up every morning, imagining that my mother is going to make her delicious Ladakhi bread, kambir, thick, beautiful, lovely, hot. You should try next time. I'll have it for you. You cut it in half. You put some jam butter, apricot jam with a little bit of butter with some sweet tea. It's the best thing, Sanjay.
What's it called again?
Kambir. Kambir. Khambir. Kambir.
Kambir.
Kambir. Yeah, it's a Ladakhi. It's not a person. That's the one. Yes.
That's it.
Oh, this is so good.
I've had this.
Yeah.
Oh no, I know.
Yeah.
I ate this. I ate this at the hotel that we were staying. I wish I knew the name of the hotel. From the hotel, we could see the Indian flag like that in Leh.
Okay.
We could see the Indian flag, that big.
Which year did you travel?
2019.
19. Okay. Maybe the Grand Dragon, the Zen. There are a couple of famous.
Do you know him?
Yeah. He's the ex member of parliament. Yeah. Yes.
There was a speech that he gave. I just want to take his name. His name is Jamyang Chiring Namgyal, if I'm not mistaken. I follow him on Instagram. I saw a speech. Randomly you see things on the internet. I saw a speech that he gave in the Parliament of India, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
That speech probably made him very famous.
Yes.
That even sitting here, I saw that. Such a fantastic speech he gave. I'm not going to get into the politics of it, but I'll touch base on how much you love roots. I saw he loved his roots, right?
Yes.
Like even you explaining about Kambir is like the roots that we have. I could sit here and talk about millions of things that we have, and that's the essence that brings us back.
Yes. Yeah, because they are ingrained in our psyche, in our souls. We grow up with these values. Kambir for me is a value. A beautiful Nepali thali that I had yesterday with lovely mushrooms, that's a value. Beautiful song, like I know some good Nepali songs. Yeah, like Wari Zamuna is my favorite.
Wari Zamuna, nice.
Zamuna ko fedema mana kamana.
Oh.
Yeah.
What?
I used to listen to some Nepali rap music. Mo esto chu, mo testo chu.
Jस्तो
So those you grow up with, and you have Ladakhi music, Nepali music, Ladakhi food, Nepali food. You don't forget them, and I think you should not forget them. That makes you who you are. That gives us our unique identity. And I think Himalayan people, we are very close to our values. That's why I think we struggle to adapt to a new reality, because we cannot let go of that.
Same thing happened to you in Europe?
Yeah, it was difficult. That's why I came back. So I was missing Kambir. I was missing my monasteries. I was missing my guru. I was missing my daily routine in the monastery. I was missing my people. And every morning I would wake up and I would imagine I'm back in Ladakh or Himachal in my monastery. And I was not. I mean, you had the beach. I lived near the beach. I had my supercar just below. All I had to do was brush, wash, put on my Gucci Armani, 2 diamond studs, proper footballer lifestyle, put on my very expensive Tag Heuer watch, and just go, and have fun. That's what I did. I basically lived in a villa and beach for many years. And afterwards you get tired. And the kind of people that you attract with so much, display of wealth, I was not very comfortable with that. I don't say that you should not be rich. I don't advocate that you give up your wealth and become a monk or a nun. All I'm saying is it was not a lifestyle that I was used to. That's all. So I was not very comfortable with the reality that I was living with, and every day I could feel I was becoming less and less happy. Pleasure was there. I could eat anything I wanted, Michelin food, and buy anything I want. I sometimes would think what to buy now. Seriously, Sanjay. I mean, I'm a gamer.
Yeah.
I still play games sometimes. Yeah. Right now I'm playing Breath of the Wild, Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
It's very long, and because of my limited time, I don't get time to play. I'm also playing Persona 5, Japanese JRPG.
Good for you.
Yeah, yeah. I had to play sometimes to get lost into a different reality.
Realm, yeah.
Just to cut off from everything. So I used to buy games all the time, PlayStation, Xbox. I would run out of games.
You're just 27, 28?
Yeah, 26, 27. Then, you start getting tired. So then eventually I sold everything one by one. And then it took some time. Then I came back. And I donated all my money to my monastery in Darjeeling and Devalsar. I refurbished and repaired the monks' dormitories. They were not in a very good state. I fixed a lot of things. I founded a new Buddhist philosophy school, Shedra, in Darjeeling in 2012, Zigar Gumpa. I invited our Kempo, our abbot, a great master. He was living in Nepal. I invited him back to Darjeeling. I set up everything. I spent all my money. And then again, I did 2 years extra retreat in 2015, I think. Yeah, around 15. So 15 and 16. 2017, I went back to Ladakh. So after coming back from Europe in 2015, I came back. I did all this. Before that, I had already started setting up everything. Yeah, all the...
You sold everything in Europe. You let go of majority of your money.
Yes.
Majority of your wealth.
Yes. I sold the big assets. The small assets, good clothes and everything, I just left it there. I couldn't be bothered with it. So, yeah. And afterwards, then I went back to Ladakh since 2017. It took some time to adjust to the new reality of selling everything, setting everything up. When I went to Ladakh, I had 30,000 Indian rupees in my pocket. That's it. And I started my current monastery that I founded in 1998 when I was young, when I had gone to Ladakh for a holiday. Right now, I'm building a new monastery called Narjurling. It's in the mountains, and it's a very big land, and I have a big vision. So I started working for that since 2017. So whatever I am right now, it was like a new birth. So whatever I am right now, the way people know me online, on Instagram, on YouTube, all the podcasts, all the people that I met and everything, it happened since 2017, and I had 30,000 rupees in my pocket. So I can relate to mehnat. That's what I did, Sanjay. Even now, I never say no to anyone. I meet everyone. Yeah, whether I decide to do something with them or carry it forward, that depends. So when I wanted to do the podcast, here in Nepal, I had heard about it from before. So I thought, why not with the most famous influencer?
We're trying. No, this is such a pleasure to have you here, especially on this day, because it's a new beginning for everybody.
What a coincidence, huh?
Yeah. And I'm glad. Tell me, there are a few things. Now I'll come to a few questions that I had written down.
You've written a lot of things down.
Just a few things. Just a few things. Values of meditation. There's a specific thing. See, I dwell on this almost constantly. Not every day, but constantly in my life. There's a retreat here in Nepal that you can go to, and you can meditate for X amount of days.
Okay.
Let's say 2 weeks. I've dwelled on this for a long span of time.
And you haven't?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. Someday I will.
Okay.
So it's not that I will go there. Like there's gonna be a calling, and then I'll just be there. A lot of friends want to go ahead and try to meditate, but it just doesn't happen.
Okay.
Any suggestions that you have?
You can't force it. Yeah, it has to come naturally. I think everything happens for a reason. In Buddhism, we don't believe in coincidences. So I just called it a coincidence today, but I just said it because of, manner of speaking. Yeah. But it's not. We have sown the seeds in one of our past lives, Sanjay. We have met somewhere in one of our past lives. We have already sown the seeds. Otherwise, what are the chances of a Rinpoche from Ladakh, who is constantly traveling, coming to Nepal on such a day and meeting through a lovely friend, Nirav, to a very busy and famous person in Nepal, constantly traveling himself? It's almost like impossible to meet, So many things happen like that. And also some of the good people you meet in your life.
Yeah.
Your girlfriends, your friends, your boyfriend, whatever you are. If it's meant to happen, it happens. And you have sown the seed. That's a Buddhist teaching, from a Buddhist perspective. So I'm sure I've met you in one of my past lives. We have sown the seeds. That is why we are here together. Same thing with meditation. when the time comes, you will go there yourself and you will meditate and you'll have such profound experience. You really can't force it. If you force it, it might work, it might not work. I'm not saying it will not work, but usually it works if it happens naturally, when you feel you're ready.
People go through some kind of painful experience in their life and then they want to go meditate, right?
That is, I mean, I don't really, yeah, you can get good results. Some people actually become enlightened, like Milarepa, for example.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was what, I mean, frankly speaking, he was a mass murderer. He killed more than 30 odd people out of vengeance. His relatives were horrible to him when he was young. Then he repented. There was a painful, moment in his life. First, all the suffering that he was subjected to, his mother, and his sister, Peta. Afterwards, all the killing and the guilt, these are all painful experiences. So then he went out to look for his guru, Marpa, and he became enlightened. But that's a very rare occurrence. Usually people go and meditate, find a guru for relief, not for enlightenment. They want instant relief. They want to forget. They want to suppress. They want to, I don't know, they just want to get over. So they don't want to cross the river. They just want to dip their toes. They don't want to cross the river, Sanjay. They're not ready to swim. Yeah? They just want to dip their toes and spend a day at the beach and come back. They're not ready to cross the ocean. So it's a big task. It's a big task. It's a big responsibility, not only towards your guru and the path that you're engaging yourself with, but also to yourself. And if you keep repeatedly withdrawing from these kind of tasks, it breaks down your confidence. Then all of a sudden you think like, maybe I'm not meant to be spiritual. Maybe I'll never become spiritual, because you did it at the wrong time for the wrong purposes. So I think the purpose has to be clear. You need to have a good understanding of why meditate. When you meditate, you connect, frankly speaking, you connect deeply within yourself. When you pray, you connect to a God or a deity. You connect externally. When you meditate, you connect internally. And according to different religions, it is practiced in different ways. In Buddhism, at least, for example, I was talking about Tara. So Tara, you have Tara's prayer. One of the most famous one is the 21 praises to Tara. So if I may just sing one shlok, it's like Chansala tare nyurma pamo to tara injikpa selma ture tongon jimbe dolma soha yige kyolando do. Beautiful. Okay? You're connecting to Tara. And Tara, to the simple-minded person, is taught as a Devi who exists outside. But as you go deeper into your practice and you climb the ladders of Buddhist practices and you get the more secret and the deep teachings, and you're taught that Tara is not separate from yourself. So basically, all this while, you've been praying to yourself and you didn't know it. But usually, when you pray, you're praying to something external to yourself. When you meditate, you're going within yourself. So that's how I would describe meditation and prayer.
And over time, see, as you grow older, as I grow older, I can't talk about anybody else. I won't know their life. As I grow older, it's not power, it's not money that's the most important thing. It's your health that's the most important thing. Yeah. And not just physical health, but
mental health, spiritual health.
Because if you don't have that, everything else is lost.
Yeah.
Wasn't that the same for you?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, physically I was fine. Internally, externally, I think my kidneys, my liver, my lungs, they were in very good shape. Yeah. I had very little fat. I had good muscles. My bone structure was good. Outside, I looked fantastic with clothes and everything. But, and you go deeper into my emotions and my spiritual, health, I think I was suffering. So that's why I came back and I re-engaged myself on my path. And one important thing that I want to just mention here, which is the most important thing, is the role of a guru. So like I said, my guru is His Holiness the 12th Gyalwang Drukpa. He's like my spiritual father. He's always with me here. Everything that I am, all the knowledge that I have, all the experiences that I have, I feel it's because of him, his blessings. You have to see, now this is a very broad subject, so I'm struggling to put it into words. I'll try my best. If I ask you, Sanjay, have you ever met the Buddha? No. right? Have you met Tara Devi, Ma Tara? No. Have you met Guru Rinpoche? No. Have you met Manjushri? No. Maybe we might have in a past life, but that's irrelevant because you have no recollection. You cannot prove it. But have you met a guru, a physical guru? Yes. You know, has he touched you physically, your hand, your head, blessed you? Yes. Has he spoken to you, given a few words of advice? Yes. Has he looked at you and smiled with compassion? Yes. So you have been blessed, body, speech, and mind by Guru, by living Jita Jagta Guru, not a man-made statue, you know, which are thousands of copies, millions of copies all around the world. You don't have just one Buddha.
Yeah.
You have millions of. Here you have, for example, in Patan, right? You have a huge industry where they create all kinds of statues that you want. Nepal has the best craftsmen in the world for that. So for me, I am closer to my guru than to Buddha. I respect the Buddha for the work he's done, the teachings that he gave 2,500 years ago, but I don't have any connection to him. I do have a connection to my guru, however. So I put my guru above Buddha. My guru's mind is enlightened, a Buddha, awakened. My guru's speech is Dharma. My guru appears as a Sangha. So Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, I see it in my guru, His Holiness Gyalwang Drukpa. So for me, listening to my guru, being with my guru, practicing what he teaches, following his teaching, for me that's my path. Even tomorrow he tells me, drink 10 cups of water. For me, that's a direct teaching from a Buddha. I will not debate why 10 cups of water. Yeah, can I have juice? No, I will drink 10 cups of water. And trust me, it's difficult to explain right now. But if you follow a guru, if you practice Guru Yoga, after some time, you will realize that you're getting blessed in ways you never imagined, that nobody can bless you by, you know, like following a guru. So finding a guru is very important, when you want to engage yourself spiritually. Yeah, maybe that's why you haven't been able to meditate as you would have wished for, because you never found the medium to introduce you to the spiritual path. I mean, you're talking about this intangible world, a spiritual world that we don't have much idea. We have basic ideas. We want enlightenment. You have the Four Noble Truths. You have this path.
You want nirvana. You want to go to Shangri-La. You want to live
You have this mantra. You have that mantra. You do this and that. But why? How? You know. But when you have a guru, it makes everything. He puts the dot into the I. He connects everything. Everything starts to make sense. And the more time you spend with him or her, it can be a female guru also, the more you advance. The advancement is very fast when you follow a guru.
It's like having a teacher that's definitely going to guide you and then support you and then push you towards getting
It's like
better.
buying a ticket to Sri Lanka and just sitting on a plane and you reach there. You didn't have to learn how to fly a plane. You know, I mean, imagine how long it'll take. Even somebody who's as intelligent and, you know, educated and capable as you, I'm sure it'll take like 6 months or 1 year until you get a license and, you know, you can afford a plane to buy a small plane and fly to Sri Lanka. And that's a waste of time. Instead, if you just sat on a plane, you would reach there with very little amount of money. So that's what a guru does. He carries with you. He becomes your responsibility. You become his responsibility.
And you are a guru now, and in the future you'll carry forward with that.
Yeah, well, I'm a guru by name only, but my guru, His Holiness, is a guru by nature. I consider him to be a living Buddha. I hope you get to meet him one day.
Definitely.
Go to Druk Amitabha Mountain. He's amazing, man.
We'll go together.
Yeah, I'll.
And I'm going to take you to Maya Devi as well. That's something that I've promised, and I'll make
We'll
sure
exchange our favorite places.
Done.
My favorite place is wherever my guru is. Yours is that tree, no?
Yeah. It's such an amazing place. I'd love to. Honestly saying, you know, there was a time when I was there. Of course, a lot of things, ups and downs, definitely happen in life, right? I try to run a business. You understand what I go through. And I was there in the evening, and I've been there so many times, right?
Okay.
And imagine you're there right in the evening when its sun is setting.
You're talking about Lumbini.
Lumbini, right? And then you're there, and a lot of Buddhist monks like yourself are chanting, are praying together. Same hum, right next to the tree. Imagine there's like 50, 70, 100 monks chanting the same. I don't know what they were chanting. I wish I knew, but I don't need to learn that. I could feel it. and it was so amazing. You know, I still have that memory in my mind right now. So that's the spirit, that's the essence that I got from that tree, and I'd love to take you there.
I would love to come. We can check our schedule for the next year,
Yeah.
and we'll plan it together.
For this year.
Yeah, for this year, yes, yes.
Something that I wanted to make sure that I talk with you on this. You know,
Lumbini, yeah.
what did you feel you were, or who were you in your past life, or a life before that, or a life before that?
So the basic idea behind Rinpoche's, or Rinpoche is a title.
Yeah.
It basically means the precious one, Anmol.
Yeah.
Right? You can call your dog a Rinpoche.
Tulku is a reincarnation.
Tulku is a reincarnation. That's a technical term.
Technical term.
Yes, that's a technical term. So I'm a Tulku by definition.
Yes.
So this is my 8th reincarnation. So I've been reborn 8 times consecutively as a human being, as a guru.
Constantly as a guru, right?
Yeah, consecutively, you know. There was not a gap that I was born as an animal or in a different realm. I was born as a human being, as a guru, rediscovered by my root guru, Gyalwang Drukpa, and coming back 8 times consecutively, you know, to teach and to reach out to people. So how it started, the story goes that the first Palga Rinpoche, he was from Tibet. So that's why sometimes I joke. I say, I'm not 40, I'm 400.
Because
I honestly, sometimes I do feel very, not old, ancient. Old is, you know, relative, biological, right? Old, I'm 40 years old. I feel like a tree sometimes, Sanjay. I feel very ancient. I feel like this big Bodhi tree, an oak tree, maybe with new leaves. Yeah, this is maybe the summer of my life. Thank you. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
Maybe this is a summer of my life. Autumn is coming soon. I've just become 40. Sometimes when I meet people, I know they're older than me, biologically, age-wise, maybe they're 60, 70, 80. But spiritually, I don't mean to sound arrogant or whatever, but I feel I'm much older than them. I see them, it's like seeing my grandchildren. Spiritually, some people are so immature. They have so many insecurities. Their ego is completely overpowering them. They have no idea. They have new things. They have new toys to play with. That's it. That's the way I see it. As you age, you get new toys. You get toys of ego, of seat, of money, of man, of a woman, you know, of houses. You just get fancy new toys. The toys become more expensive and more destructive.
Materialistic things.
Yeah. So the first Palga Rinpoche, he was discovered when he was a cook, chef in my monastery in Tibet. He was the kitchen, you know, he worked in the kitchen. And he was a very good practitioner. The story goes that he went to a nearby village to buy provisions. On the way back, in my monastery, Dzigar, there is a big river, Dzichu. Dzichu means water, Dzichu, Dzigar river. That was flooded. So the first Palga Rinpoche, he was a normal monk. He could not cross it because it was flooded. So rest of his search party went to look for a ford to cross, or a bridge, you know, like a shallow place. The Palga Rinpoche, the first one, because he had already achieved a lot of siddhi, he flew on his horse into the monastery compound. Then people thought, okay, maybe, you know, he has special powers. So that's a sign of accomplishment. Then they recognized him, enthroned him as a reincarnation of a bodhisattva. So the lineage of Palga Rinpoche is considered to be the reincarnation of Vajrapani, the Buddha of power. So maybe that's why I'm drawn to.
You're drawn towards a little bit of muscles.
Yeah, I'm drawn towards power, you know. Okay. So that's how it happened. So after he passed away, then my guru, His Holiness Gyalwang Drukpa, recognized me, found me once more. So it becomes easy to find in the next life, you know, because you already started this like chain reaction. And every life, he sits in meditation. Once I pass away, he knows exactly where I'm born. That's my guru, His Holiness, giving his personal vest. He sent his vest to me as a blessing, so I was overjoyed. He loves me like a son, and sometimes we meet. I met him a while ago, a few months ago, and he gave me this out of his own hand, amber. mala.
Why the yellow? What's the
He just random. He just took it out. He's like, put it, it's for you. And then he gave me this locket that I wear. It's an artist's impression of him. Yeah, it doesn't look exactly like him. It's an artist's impression. He's like, oh, this is me. Just put around your neck, and I will always be with you. So I have this great love to my guru.
I would just want to touch base on this, and we talked about it earlier as well. His Holiness Dalai Lama. Have you ever met him?
I met him a few times.
How is he as a person? Just to understand.
As you see on TV, amazing. He's the reincarnation of Avalokiteshvara. He is a complete bodhisattva, a complete Buddha, whatever you want to call it. The energy that you feel from him, from His Holiness Gyalwang Drukpa, His Holiness Dalai Lama, they're basically cut from the same fabric. Amazing. Different characteristics, but amazing. And the way they behave, the way they teach, slightly different, but the essence is the same.
Very well said. Have you ever been to Tibet?
No.
Not yet?
Not yet. I haven't had the opportunity.
Would you want to go?
I would love to go, but then there are lots of technical issues, with politics and all this. So you have to be responsible for that, because I have a huge following, and in Tibet as well as India and everywhere. So I cannot just make up my mind and go. So,
yeah. The world's politics is definitely changing, right? I don't want to touch base to the depth of it, but the world politics is changing. Wars are always going to happen. Like it's inevitable.
Yes.
Wars always happened back in the day. Wars are happening today. Wars will happen in the future. That's something that we can't stop. The world politics the dynamics is going to change. Where do you see, just touching base on this, where do you see your reincarnation happening after?
I have no idea. I've been thinking about it. Sometimes Rinpoches can decide where to be reborn. So, like wishing, you can wish to be born in a place. I think I have that luxury because of my proximity to my guru. I think I can afford to wish for that. I can have that arrogance, confidence to wish for that. I don't know. I thought about it. I think I would love to be born wherever my guru lives nearby, and I would love to be born among the nuns who are in Druk Amitabha mountain. My guru, he initiates nuns. He takes monks, but he believes in women empowerment. So Druk Amitabha mountain, the Kung Fu nuns, as popularly known, there are more than 300.
Yeah.
Across the Himalayas, there are more than 500 Kung Fu nuns. Amazing.
We've seen videos of them. Google it. Show it to everybody.
You should go there. They lay their own cables, electric cables, network cables. They do their own masonry. They know self-defense. They practice. They do everything. They play their musical instruments. They sing songs.
You've met them. You've spent time with them.
They're my sisters.
Yeah.
They're my, spiritual sisters. I love them, and I'm so proud to be. I think I would love to be born among them, and to be brought up by them, because that's the most responsible place, I see, safest place to be born and to be brought up. I would love to be born where my guru lives, and to be brought up by my sisters, the Kung Fu nuns. Yeah, you should visit. Let me know whenever you have time.
Google it. Show it to everybody. Did you find it?
Yeah, on Instagram you have their page, Kung Fu Nuns.
Yeah.
You can check. They break bricks with their bare hands, with their foreheads. They practice Kung Fu every morning. They do cycle yatras. Last time they did from Nepal to Ladakh, Kathmandu to Ladakh. Sanjay, we hardly travel. You've been on bike, right?
I know how long it is.
Yeah, and how difficult it. They did it on bicycle to raise awareness about women trafficking for prostitution. Such a noble cause. They plant trees, they collect garbages, to raise awareness about the globe, all the problems that we're facing. Yeah, that's them. Yeah, the Kung Fu nuns, really amazing. If you look at them, their activities are countless, and they follow the path of my guru, which is activities, which foundation that he found, Live to Love. Mm-hmm. It's a beautiful name, Live to Love. So under Live to Love, they do plantations, environmental hygiene, cycle yatras, health, women empowerment. So many things besides pujas. That is a nice clip. The one there is in the kitchen. Mm-hmm. If you play that, they're making cookies. See, they're making their own They run their own cafe, I think she's tasting her food.
Nice.
Yeah, you should come, man. The coffee is amazing. Spiritual coffee.
We will come. No, this is like adaptive of technology.
Yeah,
Like we talked earlier, right? You have to move with the time.
with the times. Adjust with the times.
And you've adapted technology. I'm
Yeah.
sure a lot of friends want to adapt technology, but haven't been able to as well. Any suggestion?
I think be honest, be truthful. You cannot lie to anyone these days. Like if you look at my Instagram, it's embarrassing, but at the same time, that's what I wanted, Sanjay. Sometimes people ask me, Rinpoche, how can you post these six packs photos? Down there's a photo I posted when I was in Hong Kong.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, and just so that I capture every pack, I captured with my DSLR, with proper resolution.
I'm glad that Guru, you have a FX3. I was glad that you know that too, and that technology, and which is fantastic.
Yeah, I love technology and I love photography, videography.
There you go. Look at our Guru.
Okay, I just want to say to the camera, this is not to show off. I try to be humble. I have no ego, but this is to encourage people to work out. But basically what I'm trying to say is, even somebody who's as busy as me, who's so disconnected with the exercise and everything, even I can find time to work out, and you have to take care of yourself. And this is a result of very hard work and discipline. And this is not showing off, please. I'm folding my hands. Yeah, so don't take it in a bad way. Some people might think like, oh, he's just showing off, and this is not what Rinpoche should be doing. I'm just raising awareness about eating clean, taking care of your health, because I believe health is wealth, like we spoke. Without health, you cannot do anything, Sanjay. You cannot walk the spiritual path, nor can you achieve anything in the normal world. So health is so important. That's what I advocate. That's it.
What are your plans here in Kathmandu and here in Nepal, if you have anything specific going on?
So today being the new year, I will be. I'll engage myself in spiritual activities. I think I'll go around Bauddha Stupa. I will visit Mahakala. I will pray for the new year. And whenever I pray, may I suggest that you don't only pray for yourself, but you pray for universal peace. You pray for all sentient beings. You pray for the poor people. You pray for the people who are suffering in wars. You pray for people who are suffering because of their own faults, and sometimes innocent people. You pray also for all these innocent animals who have no idea what's happening, who have no idea why they're hungry. The dogs and the cats and the cows and the birds, they have no idea why the world is heating up. They have no idea why people are beating them, why there are so many cars. They're so afraid. There's so much noise everywhere, so much pollution. So pray for those poor animals who have no idea of their place in samsara. Human beings, at least we have the intelligence to understand what's happening. We can calculate things, we can measure. They have no calculation and measurement like we do. Pray for them. Pray for everybody. You don't have to pray for yourself, because you include yourself when you mention all sentient beings. So I suggest on this New Year's Day, you pray for universal peace. That's a very good resolution to have. You wish for happiness, not only for yourself, but for everyone. Do some meaningful spiritual activities. Please don't drink.
I am with you.
Please don't eat meat, and do maybe be vegetarian for one day. Start the first day with spirituality and good deeds. I think the rest of the year you can relax a little bit, then good things will happen.
I'm with you on this. No, this is amazing. Rinpoche, anything specific that we missed out that you wanted to share with everybody from Nepal and all my audience watching all around the world?
I would say what I always tell people. We live in a very confusing world. It's very difficult to make sense of anything, of people, of our place in society, where we are, who we are, like the question that I first asked. I want everybody to look into the mirror when they wake up and ask, who am I? Like, who am I in a very deep way, not just superficially. Look within yourself. I want people to try to understand what we are, who we are, where we are, what is meaningful. Don't pursue meaningless things. I've already been there, done that. Maybe try to find something that is long-lasting, spontaneous, like happiness that comes from within. Look for happiness not outside, but inside. choose to be compassionate, choose to be loving, choose to be patient. You don't have to respond to each and everything. Yeah, you can keep your mouth shut for a few minutes. And that's the difference between having a fight and having a big court case, for 10 years, or just resolving a situation. Control your ego. Everything has a limit, Sanjay. Your body has a limit. You can only become so fat. You can only become so tall. Even if you build a building, there's a limit. You cannot reach space. But to the ego, it doesn't have a limit. The ego can outgrow the universe. The ego can outgrow even the Buddha himself. Even Buddha's own cousin, Devadatta, never became friends with him. He could not digest the fact that his own cousin, this same prince, Siddhartha, who used to shoot arrows with him and, bring down swans, he became a Buddha and became so famous. He could not digest that. And until the day he died, he could not come to terms with the Buddha's achievements.
Yeah.
That's his ego. It outgrew. He was so blinded. So please take care of your ego. Don't let it grow big. I won't say completely suppress your ego, because sometimes you need a little bit of ego, Sanjay, for the right purpose. Even when you practice, thoda sa you need, why can't I become enlightened? You can't be so humble though. You need a little bit of confidence. Siddhartha became enlightened. Yeah? Born in Nepal, became enlightened in India. He did such great things. Why can't I? Milarepa became enlightened. Naropa became enlightened. Why can't I also achieve enlightenment? Thoda sa you need that. Even in business, why can't I achieve 1 crore? That's my target. 1 million. You can do that. But then don't let it overgrow. Yeah. Like weed. Keep trimming it. Keep it under control. And respond to a situation accordingly. Sometimes you have to be a little bit with this, sometimes a little bit with this. But usually, together.
Balance it out.
Yeah. Your heart and your brain, together, balance. Balance is very important. Then you fly towards achievements.
Amazing. This is such a great way to go ahead and start the year. I just want to thank everybody who are listening right now, because without them, this is impossible.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for sharing this space with me on this
Thank you
amazing
for having
day.
me, Sanjay. My first podcast in Nepal. I look forward to meeting you again.
Yeah.
Hopefully next time we can do it in Nepali.
Yeah, we'll do it in Nepali, and then I'll try to learn a little bit of Tibetan too, and then maybe we could do that too.
Thank you.
Thank you so much
Sanjay.
for your time.
Happy New Year.
Thank you so much. Rinpoche, such a pleasure. Awesome, man. This is good. Vyas Media Network.